Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
What up, guys? This is Emily.
And I'm Lisa, and we are the Conscious Collaboration.
Yay! The last Conscious Collaboration of 2024.
Yeah,
released actually. Yeah, the last recording of 2024 to be released at the stroke of midnight, 2025. Yes.
So Happy New Year to those.
Happy New Year! Yeah. Some time zones, maybe they're already there. I don't know.
Maybe people are already celebrating. Oh, yeah. I guess Australia, right?
I guess.
No, wait. Is that forward
or
ahead
or behind? I don't know.
Nobody knows. I don't know.
Does anybody know?
So I just saw this really funny thing on Instagram last night. I don't know if I sent it to you, but that it's about like if you could personify the time between Christmas and New Year's, this would be like what oh my gosh, it's so funny. So that time period between Christmas and New Year is like this just stressful time for a lot of people, and like it's slow and it's off the
WTF. Where am I?
Where am I?
What day is it?
There's a lot of reflecting back on the year and having to talk about it to people you haven't seen in a long time. Everyone wants to know, how was your year? How's your business? How's everything doing?
Y'all know how this year was. Come on.
So you're reflecting back and you're thinking like, wow, I can't believe how fast that year went, and also how slow it was at the same time. I don't know if you have your own personal like reel that's happening in your head right now.
Yeah.
Of all the things of this past year, and we never thought that we would have been through all the things that we have been. But anyway, the concept of this reel was just kind of like, and then also you're comparing yourself to everyone you're around the table with or your friends and how their year went. And then just thinking about how you got from the beginning of last year till now. Like, what happened? How did that transpire?
I blacked out.
Yeah, blacked out. So how are you feeling right now? Like when we reflect back?
Well, right now. So, full disclosure, I just came out of a, perks to owning a yoga studio. I got to be a participant in a class this morning led by the wonderful Brian, and he led 108 ohms, followed by this luxurious chakra aligning, actually, sound bath. So I'm feeling pretty damn good right this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. He read an awesome poem at the end of it, which maybe we'll have a chance to look up at some point. But just to give you the gist of it, it was called She Let Go. And so, I don't know. My vibe right now is really good, feeling cleansed, feeling aligned, and I think in a nice place to just say this year was what it was. It definitely wasn't necessarily what I would have expected, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good right this moment.
Love that. Yeah. So the significance of 108 ohms. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
So that being just, again, numerically, that takes us to a 9, and we're entering into a 9 year.
All right. Yeah.
Really powerful. So that's symbolizing completion and actualization. And so really, you're in the perfect state to jump in.
This is hilarious because this actually came up for me like in the meditative state, but that reel, I think it was like the mom on coffee or something. She's like, there's no blood left, only vibration.
Yeah.
At one point, because doing that 108 times, that's about 107 times more than I would normally ohm. Right? Like we'll usually hit 1, maybe 3 at the end of a yoga class. I don't typically offer that. that. I don't ever offer that at the end of my class, but when I'm participating in a class, you know, but there's a whole nother level to it when you're doing that literally 108 times, and you sort of have these opportunities to experiment with how the vibration you know, is moving through your body and the different parts of the sound, and then you've got the whole group flow that's created by doing it in a room with other people. So that was all really cool. And at one point I could kind of feel my whole body vibrating, and, and that line came up for me. It's like there's no more blood, only vibration.
It must have been so hard for you to keep your mouth like focused on saying Om instead of telling everybody that.
It was actually
No? Were you like,
I
weren't like,
was
don't
able
say it?
to like access it a little better, I guess. It was a tool
Yeah.
for that. You know, I do better achieving a meditative state when I'm doing something or when there's
Yeah.
a challenge like a heat or cold or something like that. So I was actually able to kind of go inward really nicely with that, just that one little, I don't know,
I love that.
stimulus or assignment of doing the ohms. Mhm.
The Black sect, Tibetan Buddhist that I practice with, we do 108 times of Om Mani Padme Hum, which
Even
is,
more intense. Yeah.
yeah, hail to the jewel and the lotus.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite trippy to get to that
It
point. You're
is.
like, am
Yeah.
I a frequency or a person? And
And it was cool. It was cool then, you know, right in between that and the sound bath, he kind of did a little nidra like body scan. And it was
Mhm.
just really cool how by that time I was able to so easily and vividly kind of, you know, he would literally go through the fullness of the thumb and the bones and the fingernail and like every body part that he was naming, as granular as he got, I could kind of instantly connect to it and like feel it
Ooh.
pulsing. And I think, yeah, having done the ohms before that enabled that.
So he leads you into the meditation through 108 ohms, and then he starts very granular in connecting to
Yeah,
your
we laid
body.
down after that, and he did like a yoga nidra body scan kind of thing,
Love that.
and then a sound bath. Hmm.
Oh, shout out to Brian. Yeah.
So and there was a piece of it where we also, you know, connected to each chakra. So it was very aligning and very a very good segue, I think, into what we're
Yeah. So
chatting about today.
a lot of times, we have such a good listener base. And I think we've had so many people come up to us with such thoughtful comments that we seem to bring to them the right topics at the right time and exactly what they needed to hear in that moment. But then there's a little bit of confusion around the concept we talk about of aligning mind and body with our business. So I thought, and we had such a good conversation around it too, is really talking a little bit more about alignment with our listeners today and giving a concept of presenting the concept of performing an alignment audit. It sounds kind of businessy, but I promise it's fun.
We are
Um,
kind of businessy,
yeah, I mean, it's business. We're business owners here.
you know, right?
But both you and I, so Emily and I, the whole concept around our podcast is recognizing the importance of our mindsets and how well that is, and how does our body feel, and intuitively feeling into that, and seeing things and recognizing using all of our senses, and likewise with our space and our surroundings. So I think, Emily, we're always doing some bit of like a scanning or an audit of whether or not we are in alignment in our mind, in our body, and our space. And when we're not, when we're off kilter, we can also see that very well, but because we're always sensing and evaluating that for ourselves. But I think the benefit to, not that we are perfect 100% of the time, I think the benefit to striving for alignment or returning to that space, that neutrality within all of those neutrality is not the best word, but just that taji pull or that like strength, in that connection, in that alignment, it helps us to be able to actually embody the things that we desire. Not necessarily things, but the feelings, sometimes it's things, sometimes it's finances, sometimes it's business goals, sometimes it's relationships.
Although, and I think we did an episode on this just a handful back, but that reminds me of what Ed Milet is always saying about how you're not like, okay, you want to manifest a thing or an outcome, but dig a little deeper. What you're actually trying to manifest is the feeling that thing or outcome you think will bring you, whether it's a business goal or a fitness goal or what have you. So dial it deeper, connect with what feeling it is you're trying to achieve, and then, to manifest it, right? Einstein, put yourself in the frequency of that thing, of that feeling. And when you connect it to a feeling, it's a lot easier to put yourself in that frequency.
So exactly. And the idea of getting into this place of alignment is aligning with that with which you desire, that outcome that you desire. I like the word that you used. Outcome was escaping me. But so it's really just evaluating and paying attention to each of these components. Similar to how Brian was able to take it down to a granular level, we're breaking it down into categories. So let's talk a little bit about, unless you have like a story that relates to that, Emily, like, is there a time reflecting back in 2024 when you were like so aligned, or there was a piece just not aligned that needed to be repositioned or focused on to help you to move forward?
Well, I mean, what comes to mind first is, just last month, when I was to do the bikini competition, and something was so out of alignment that my whole body said absolutely not.
No go.
And threw me into a bout of food poisoning or viral whatever, and forcibly purged everything. And it did sort of act as although it wasn't necessarily by choice, it felt like it acted as a reset point for me to sort of start to reevaluate and realign. And I not only me personally, and not only am I not perfect with this, I often have to be, and I don't know if it's that just generator like tendency to like just go 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 and generate and do and take action all the time that I lean towards, but I often have to be sort of forced into that audit and realignment.
Yeah. And that's a good example too. Just that, I mean, we don't want to do a major factory reset on our lives all the time.
No, it's not comfortable.
It's not comfortable, but that story that you shared in that episode that we did really resonated with a lot of people, came forward to like, wow, like, that was very relatable and encouraging to them to reset their own habits and lives in whatever it was that they were pursuing. And it makes me think about, in terms of feng shui, I've heard stories about Grandmaster Professor Lin Yun. And he was, I've heard stories of him factory resetting people's lives that I try not to do. I try to focus on 1 to 3 areas out of 9 to address at a time, with intention. And he, in his final years, was known for doing quite a dramatic factory reset. Once, when people said they desired something, he was like, "I'm going to make it happen." And he would do his cures in all of the 9 areas. And it would cause just, I mean, you would get to where you were headed, but it was not without complete everything blowing up and all the pieces
I mean,
scattered.
sometimes it's called for, there's a
Yeah,
time and a place, I
there's a
think.
time and a place for that. So, I mean, I think going back to intention is, do you feel like a little bit of you was intentionally seeking a factory reset on life at that time?
I mean, it must have been. It must have been. And had I had an intentional audit in
Mm,
place, um, prior to that, maybe I could have softened that blow a little bit. Maybe the the hard blow was what I
yeah.
needed at the time. I mean, I'm trying to choose to look at everything here lately as if like, really this is exactly how it was supposed to happen. And so, okay,
Yeah.
what do I take from this? But yeah, I mean, and I mean, it reveals stuff that limiting beliefs or
Mhm.
tendencies that you might have. My tendency to that like hardcore kind of athlete, just like I want something so bad
Yeah. So much
that I'm
pressure.
just gonna push through stuff that I know better
Yeah. So, like, if
kind of
we're
thing.
talking about like, body alignment, and I think that's great. Like, I'm so happy that you share that with us, is that like not only you're an expert, but you live it. So it's not like a constant state of always being what we see as perfect all the time. Like you're always
No,
constantly adjusting your sales. And it's not always like perfect or pretty. But what
it's
is it
it's
about like,
forever dynamic.
yeah. What is
It's
it
forever
about like
dynamic.
listening? If we're talking about body alignment, like what is it that we can do to listen to or feel into our bodies? And like, how can
Hmm.
we better regain like our sense of selfness in our body forms?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a fancy answer, it's literally just making a practice of checking in with these things. And I mean, the most practical example is my clients when particularly my online clients who are doing weekly. We do face to face or phone check ins, but they're also doing weekly written check ins where they're tuning into, energy levels, hunger levels, digestion, all these his sleep, stress, all these sort of biofeedback markers that really make all the difference as to whether our body is aligned or not. So just checking in is the simple answer. Because that doesn't have to be anything fancy, but like, how is your sleep?
Mhm.
How is do you have any pain right now? Uh how are your hunger levels? Are you finding yourself hungry all the time? Are you finding that you're not hungry? Are you finding that you're crazy? What's going on? What's up?
Yeah. Thinking about my own like body misalignment or alignment, I know that when I'm out of whack recently, because, I've had like the shoulder injury
Mhm.
from, May or whatever of last year, which thank goodness, thank you for helping me improve that, has not been bothering me. But that was
Mhm.
like a real indicator for me that, like, in particular, okay, if that's triggering me and bothering me, then I knew I needed to do some of the movement that you prescribed me to do. They're trying to learn like what is it that's agitating that injury?
Mhm.
What is it that's relieving it?
Yeah, I mean, pain and limitations are just our body sending us a message. It's information. And clinically, right? Like this idea of alignment, we're talking about, we would say homeostasis,
Right.
right? Which again is always dynamic. You're never just like, oh, okay, well, this person's in homeostasis. Our job is done here. Like it's always something that we're dialing the knobs to try to achieve and maintain. And it I think you said like it wobbles, right? And it does, it wobbles. You're kind of just trying to stay in a zone more so
Yeah.
than in one specific place. And it's cyclical or seasonal, and other factors, right, have make huge impacts on what are the appropriate dials to turn in any given season, to kind of maintain that alignment or homeostasis. But if we're not checking in, if we're not checking the vital signs and asking about pain levels and looking at the information that we have, then we're just making blind adjustments.
Right.
So you have to measure in some way or check
Yeah.
in
It's
order
different. I
to.
mean, like being in my 40s versus my 20s,
Mhm,
I could just do activity as like a normal everyday kind of
mhm,
thing. But as you mentioned, like, okay, pain's not necessarily always a thing, but when you're getting older and you're in your 40s and you have weird limitations, like
mhm,
you see it yourself, there's so much of that in the alignment component. There's so much mindset linked with the body because I could be pain free, but still my mind is not allowing my arm to reach to where it did like
mhm.
prior to the injury. So I know that doing the continual check-ins and the assessments, that those things sync up.
Yeah. Well, and look, here's the other piece of it. Maybe even the bigger piece, because I think more people are just moving through. I don't want to say just entirely moving through life mindlessly, but
Yeah.
very disconnected from their body, and literally moving or kind of existing physically mindlessly, and or
Mhm.
just assuming that I mean, how often do you hear like, oh, this pain or this whatever is just because I'm just getting older, that's just what happens, that's just what
All the
happens.
time.
No, it's not. No, it's not. But
I
if
hear
we
people
if we
say
don't
that
ever
every
check in with it,
right.
if we're not checking
Yeah.
in with it,
It
then it
shouldn't be
is just gonna,
acceptable.
yeah, it is just gonna, there's always something that you can do. These things are not just afflictions that we have. And this
Right.
goes beyond physical pain, any sort of symptom that's coming up in our body. That's not just afflictions that we can't control. These are messages. These are pieces
Mhm.
of information that our body is telling us to give us clues as to where to dial the knobs.
So I like the dial the knobs.
Mhm.
So as we're talking about perhaps journaling or just mentally checking in with our bodies, what is like a scanning cue that we can do to do our body assessment of whether we're in alignment or not?
I mean, I would kind of go with the big pillars on a regular basis, just like uh, literally kind of the things that I've said, like, okay, how is my digestion? How
Yeah.
is my sleep? How is my stress? How is my hunger? And if you're how is my pain, right?
Right.
And if you're finding that you're answering any of those with, we use, for most of these, not all of these are appropriate, but for a lot of these we use just numerical scales. So
Yeah.
if you're finding that on a scale from 1 to 10 your sleep is 2, being the worst kind of thing, 1 being the worst, then that's an invitation to dig a little deeper and and see what's going on there. But I would start very, very basic and very broad, and then just go from there.
And there's lots of, I mean, not that I own any of them, but besides scales, like literal scales, there's lots of tools out there now that you can use, like your watch can track your sleep, your steps,
Yeah.
your but there's even like
But I would say, I would say for these purposes, and I'm wearing an Apple Watch right now, whatever,
yeah.
and that stuff is good
Mhm.
data to supplement. But for our purposes of really actually connecting,
Yeah.
I think that just simply asking yourself these questions, which then forces you to um do some internal mindfulness. It forces
Okay.
you into mindfulness,
Right.
at least in that moment.
I like that. I mean, as an umbrella,
Keep it simple. Yeah.
it gives you a
Mhm.
place to realize, like, okay, I realize I'm out of alignment in my weight, and then focus in on, like, okay, let's be very mindful about sleeping. Am I sleeping well? What have I been doing? What is my level of stress? All the things that you've talked about, in the past couple of years with us, and taking a look, and if you have to log what you're intaking or what your activity is. But I think it feels overwhelming to think that you have to be evaluating all the things all at one time. Can you just focus on like one area and return it to where it needs to be? And then,
I think you always keep an eye on the pillars, right?
Mhm.
And let's say, you can look at, okay, let's look at nutrition, movement, sleep, stress, hydration.
Mhm.
And you look at, okay, nutrition and movement, and we're about 80-85% good there. We're doing
Mhm.
good there. But we look at sleep, and we're at like a 25%.
Right.
So doing a basic check-in with all the pillars, and then putting your focus or your energy where you really see a deficit, you know what I mean,
Mhm.
rather than trying to go harder and get from 85 to 90% on your nutrition. Like, you're going to get a lot more value out of by auditing those initial pillars, checking in with all the pillars on a very basic level, and then really putting your focus in on what you find to be at a deficit. And that'll get you your most bang for your buck, I guess.
I love that. Yeah. So just a sneak peek, you guys, we created just a handy little worksheet that we are giving to you guys for free that you can download with us, and we'll be sharing that inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective, our closed and private Facebook group, and also in the description notes for Instagram when we push that out there that you can download. But if you get lost, because for me, the whole body, I'm fine with the space and the mindset I'm good with, but I really like the body sensing. I think it would be
Mm-hmm.
helpful to come back and listen to this episode and listen to what Emily is saying. Well, at least the few times that you're learning how to check in and scan your body with this audit, and start to, with intention, make some good mindful notes, and then write down your actions. Very simple. And we like simple. Emily and I
Mm-hmm.
are not going to waste your time. We don't like to waste our own time. But thank you. I love that. And I know,
Simple is sustainable, and
yeah,
that's all that
sustainable
really
things,
matters.
not things
Mm-hmm.
that are overcomplicated. Like, I love all the tools and everything, and when I try to research them, it just feels like too much. So what you're
Mm-hmm.
describing is very intuitive and just connecting to the body, which is exactly what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. If you create more stress with like the task part
Mhm.
of it, then you're kind of defeating the purpose a little bit. But, just having some basic, loosely structured guidance as to kind of how to do these check-ins, and I think could be very helpful, at least in the beginning, and then it becomes I think more intuitive as you solidify this practice, and you can also, work in some regular practices
Mhm.
to kind of just try to keep your and maintain the alignment that you create um, throughout your day to day,
Ah.
so that you're not, so that you're not varying so far from that kind of like
It's not
level
rigid.
baseline.
It's definitely like what Emily's doing
Mhm.
is very much like a water ebb and flow waves. It's not a very rigid sensing and feeling. So I like that. For those of you that hate the concept of New Year's resolutions, I think this is going to be your go to for 2025. And at the end of next year, we'll be able to come back and reflect on our body and our space and our mind set and whether we were in alignment and if that was able to help us actualize goals. And I know a lot of you are business owners like us or entrepreneurs. So, let us know if these concepts resonate with you. What were you going to say?
Yeah,
If you were just stunned. Squirrel.
just
um,
just leaning in.
Yeah, leaning in. So yeah, what I like what you're saying too is very similar to how we perform feng shui audits within spaces as well too.
Mhm.
So I practice a lot of shamanic techniques in feng shui. Um, People might say they're a little bit more woo, but obviously we're all practicing feng shui on some level. And you could take a course with me and learn how to do it for yourself or learn how to do it professionally. But I promise you, it's something that we're all born and equipped with.
And
As
there's a
I,
structure to it. There's a loose structure to
yeah,
it. You're
the
not
loose
just pulling
structure
it out
makes
of
it.
your woo
Yeah,
land.
it's no, it's not pulled out of Wu Land. And what I love is
Wherever that is.
within the International Feng Shui Guild, we do have quite a few people that are very deep into research to help substantiate a lot of what we do in terms of harmonizing the earthly elements. So, what I would say for when you're evaluating your space and whether or not you're in alignment, because we get so used to our own space, I think the best way to, here's a good story like coming back home from vacation, you walk into
Mm.
your home and you're like, oh my gosh, does my house smell like this all the time? Is this how it feels in my house to other people? But that's a good, and that's my best frame of reference for us to be able to take ourselves out of our own space and to be able to
Mm.
assess, like, wow, I really need to adjust. I need to clean, I need to clear. Addressing all of the environmental factors, whether it's the temperature, the humidity. I came back home last night and it was so humid in my house from that dense fog. It
Mhm.
really just was a negative feeling. So I had to kick on the dehumidifier and turn the AC back on. But that really messes up the feng shui, which will impact your sleep, which will impact numerous things in terms of comfort and safety that you're feeling in your body. So the space alignment and connection with body and mindset is really, really important. And we are encouraging you to perform a space audit for yourself. I'm always here to help you if you want to check in. I have resources and ways that I can help you with your space. But I'm going to give you just a little tip to kick off the new year, and it's like probably the most popular feng shui tip that we talk about within the guild, and that's to take a photo of your space, your room. Just focus on one space if it's overwhelming. In fact, start at your front door and take a photo of your front door and entryway and what that looks like. And is it cluttered? Are there lots of cobwebs, dust? What is the image that's being portrayed there? So using the photo and looking at it in your phone, it takes you out again, just like going away on vacation and coming back, takes you
Mm.
out of your element. So you're able to perform that audit a little bit more with that, outside perspective, higher self perspective. So entryway is your mouth of chi. So your energy starts outside of your space, whether it's your office space, your entire home. That's where your energy is welcomed and that sets the tone. So that's, essentially we've talked about within our episodes that I use what's called a Bagua or energy map. And that maps out 9 areas within any space in your home. You can Google and find these templates for yourself to get an idea. And again, I'm always here to help you to map that out. But to get a sense of, is the center of your home, which is the hub of all of your energy, the holistic health and wellness, the, spiritual, it all starts in the hub of your home there. If in that area there's any kind of leak or destruction or, just anything feeling not harmonious, that would be really important for you to address first and foremost. So that could be in some people's homes, that's where like a closet is, and it's a junk closet, and it contains all the things that you're trying to step away from guests. So that might be your first area to address in 2025. Within Feng Shui, we always use intention and then that mind and body connection. So we like to use mantras and then mudras to voice our intentions. I use Om Mani Padme Hum often, but you could use the Lord's Prayer or a line. You could use a fortune cookie, whatever you want to use to state your intention. Whatever resonates with you. But look for places within your space where you feel the energy is draining away, leaking away. Those are things that you want to shore up essentially as you're trying to keep your energy full. So I think in both of our areas of expertise, we integrate, and that's why we collaborate so well. But integrating with our mindset, it's important in both the body and also within the space, but it stands on its own as its own category at the same time. So one idea that I would like to bring to the table is, give yourself the opportunity to play around with what is the theme of 2025 for you? Or if you were a movie, what is this movie called for 2025, or the chapter that you want to enter into?
I'm rolling with the Phoenix rising from the ashes vibe.
Oh, I like that. I like that. I've seen a lot.
2024 was a little ashy.
Yeah, rising from the ashes as a phoenix. I've heard a lot of
we
people
got burned. We got burned.
Yeah, well, we were decimated by a couple of hurricanes here locally, and that was very disruptive. And so we, locally, we very much are Phoenix, and I think stronger and different. But yeah, I think for a lot of people, I've seen them just chattering about freedom and awareness. So whatever this looks like for you, I challenge you to think about what that may be, your theme, your title for 2025, and then infuse that into your intentions throughout the story. And then at the end of the year, you'll be able to reflect back into your journal or notes that you make as you work on your alignment audit. And we're giving you that free downloadable worksheet to get you started. And I'll share that inside of the Conscious Collaboration Collective in Facebook. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I think I'm excited about 2025. We already have some exciting guests lined up starting in January. So just really innovative people, brave people, change makers and thought leaders. And I think what I've heard from all of our guests is how accepted they feel in our podcast and welcomed by us and the people that we have in our collaborative group. So I want to thank everybody for just being awesome like that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes our guests more fun too. I mean, I think we attract really brilliant people who are unique and have good intentions that I think are positive role models, are very relatable too. I mean, I'm always so impressed by how accessible our guests are in our community. and genuinely wanting to help and to stay connected. They're not just here to pitch,
Word.
which is icky, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? How do you feel about this alignment audit that we're sharing?
I think I should use it.
Yeah, let's use it. We'll use it
I
every
do
project.
in an official capacity. Yeah, I definitely think it's a valuable, just like it's valuable to check in with your business every quarter or so.
Mhm.
I think checking in with the body, the mind, the breath, the environment, is very, very valuable.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I like that word outcomes that you brought into the discussion early on, and it softens the strictness of goals, which I really just dislike. So
Yeah,
I'm
outcomes
excited.
and feelings. Yeah.
Well,
Feelings.
feelings. We're all about feelings and flow right now. Well, Happy New Year, Emily. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Stay safe. And, I can't wait to hear. I hope everybody's open to sharing what their 2025 story is titled. And if you're not in there yet, come inside of our closed and private Facebook group. We'll see you inside. You can find the links in our description. And we'll talk to you in 5.
Talk to you in 5. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.